So in the last class we were going through HQ. That is where we have stopped, right? Yeah.
Inheritance mapping.
Sorry, inheritance mappings. Yeah. Today we'll see some querying again. On this first, I would like to yeah, see a few more things here. Okay, so today, so let's talk about criteria. So what are criteria? Let's see. So we saw one way of querying the database, that is using HQL, right? So let's try to query the database here using criteria. So what is the criteria actually? Find that a criteria is purely an object-oriented query. Purely an object-oriented query, I can say. So earlier in HQL, we have written queries, right, which are very much similar to SQL queries. So that means if you are familiar with SQL, you can easily write a HQL query also. So yeah, you can easily write a HQL query also. You can do that. It is possible. You can do that. What about criteria? When it comes to criteria, we don't have to write any query. So even people who are not familiar with SQL can still execute this criteria, as I can say. They can still execute this criteria. Yes, it is possible. They can execute the criteria. Yeah, you'll find that most of the times in case of criteria, it will be all method invocations. It will be all method invocations, I can say. So let's try to write a criteria. You know, there is a difference in the way we write the query um, when it comes to various versions of Hibernate framework which you're using. You see, as of now we're using 5.2.1. So this is one of the latest versions of this Hibernate framework. Okay, so let's see how to write the queries here. Yes. Criteria query. Okay, so test criteria. So first of all, even if you want to write a criteria query, so you need a session factory session object that is mandatory. First of all, in order to write a criteria query, you have to create a criteria builder object here. Criteria builder object. Yes. So through the session, you have to do that. In the session, we got this method called as get criteria builder. Sorry. In the session, we got this method called as criteria builder. Yes. Get criteria builder. So now you have to specify the class name. Now you want to create a criteria to fetch which type of records that entity class details is specified here. Okay, that entity class details is specified here. Yeah. Just a minute. So you have to specify the product class type here. Query equal to builder dot criteria builder dot create query. So pass the product class name. That's it. So we want to fetch this record, product record. So next thing here, we have to set a root here. We got something called as root. Root is specified as product. Query dot from root. So what this root indicates here, we got some notes on this. You know what? When we talk about root, see, query root indicates the root entity of the query from which all navigations originates. Is called query root. Now here we'll be working with product entities. That is the main entity here for us in our query. Okay, that is the main entity for us here in our query. So navigations means, what does it mean here? All navigations will start from here, will originate from here. What does it mean? Yes. You know, you may have associated objects, right? You may have associated objects here. Now it indicates that we have to start from this product entity itself. We have to start with this product entity itself. That is what it indicates. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next, we got this criteria. What to do with this criteria here? We have to specify what type of query you want to execute. So far, we just created a criteria. But what type of query you want to execute here? I would like to execute a select query. Okay. So this is how you'll specify it. Query dot select, and you'll pass the root object. That's it. By default, now it indicates that we want to execute a select query. It is same as select star from test.product here. Select star from Test dot product. Yes, that is what it indicates. Okay. See here, once we are done calling the select method, now we can prepare the query for the execution here. Prepare this criteria for the execution, I can say. How? Session dot, we call this create query method and pass this query object. That's it. Now this time you'll get a query object reference. This is the same query object which I worked with earlier. Okay. So now you got a query object, you can execute the query. You call this method get result list to execute the query. So you will get list of product objects here. Now let's try to iterate through those records. Already we have the code to display the product details, right? Okay, so this is the procedure of writing a criteria. First of all, we have to create a criteria builder object, and then we have to create a query object, and then the criteria query object, I'm sorry. And then to that query, we'll add the details about that entity for which we are writing the query and what type of query to what execute here. This is what you'll be doing. So let's try to run this code. Okay, it says product is not an entity class. Yeah, got it. In the last class, yeah, we have registered this entity classes, right? In the commented this one. And also now, make sure that in the Hibernate configuration file main name, we comment this HPM to DDL. If not, what happens if you have created any tables, you lose them. So I'll change the schema to test. That's it. Yeah, that's so. Now let me run this code. See, we got the record. Just check this query once. Okay, give me 1 minute, please. I'm sorry. Just check this query. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. Any questions in this regard, please let me know. Yeah. Okay, good. Now, what if I want to filter the records? Then what to do? What if I want to filter the records? Then what to do? Let's see. If you want to filter the records, in that case, we can actually add the details here itself. We can use where clause, it is possible. So generally, we use where clause in HQL and SQL, right? Here also, we can do a similar stuff here. Okay. Yes. So to this select query itself, we can add it. So what is the difference you found between the HQL and SQL? You see, the way we query the database, right? Have you noticed it? Here, we didn't write any query now, right? Without writing a query, you'll be able to fetch the record. You see, now we'll use where clause. Actually, in HQL, you have where clause. So when it comes to criteria, you have where. You see, we use where method. We got a where method here. Where method. So to use this where method, where criteria builder dot, we have equal method equal root dot get what is the property ID. So property product, the product ID should be greater than 110. So 101, not greater than, equal to 101. That's it. Yeah. So we have added this condition now. So you will find that in the criteria builder, for each SQL operator, for each SQL operator, okay, we are trying to use for each SQL operator, you see, uh, for equals, for greater than, for everything you will find a method here. Okay, for everything you will find that you got a method here. Yes, got a method for everything. Yes. So for equals, we have a method. Now we are specifying the property name using this method get method. We are passing the property name here. The property name is ID. On that property, we would like to add a condition. So using where clause generally, see, it means this query is same as select star from test or product, where product ID is equal to 101. The value, the what should be the property? Sorry, what should be the product ID? Should be 101. That is what we have specified here. So now we'll just get one record, right? Yeah, get one record. You see, we just got one record here. Okay, actually, if your query returns only one record, so in that case, you better use a different method. So here we are using get result list method, right? Instead of that, you can use a get single result method. Okay, straight away it returns only a single product object. So we don't have to iterate through the list and all. We can do this. Okay, let's run this code. Got one record. Next, let's move on. What if you have more than one condition? Then what you will do? Hi Rama, we are talking about criteria here. Okay. So what if you have more than one condition? What do people think? What you do?
using and or operator.
Okay, so we can use logical operators for that purpose, right? Generally, we use logical operators for that purpose. So, do we have support for that logical operators here? Of course, it is querying, definitely should provide such support, right? Otherwise, it won't be of any use for us. Yeah. Here, can I do this? Let's try to add one more condition this way. Will it take it? Let's see. Here, let's say the method, what I do is, sorry, I'll comment it. So what I'll do is, I'll use and then you see criteria builder dot, let's say greater than, I want that product ID should to be greater than product ID should be greater than what, let's say 110. This is one condition you can say. The other condition, criteria builder dot, see for like also we have an operator here, like root dot get name, based on the name you'll try to write this thing. Name starts with, let's say, T%. Okay, let's see. You know what? Better specify this details of the integer and string type. It is specified of so integer string. Sorry, not string. So this property is what type? You have to specify those details in this case. Now we got the query. Let's try to run this query. Oh, sorry. I'm using unique result method, right? We comment this code We'll get multiple records here this time. So go for this get result less method. You see, we got 5 records in this case. Here, how this query works, I'll tell you. First of all, we are using where clause. A where clause, it takes a number of conditions. You see, this is one condition I can say. Here it is. What we are doing to the where clause, we are passing it, not a condition. First, we are calling this AND method. Because we have multiple conditions this time, we'll call AND method here. Okay. Next, you see, this AND method to this AND method, we are passing two conditions. This is the first condition. Criteria builder dot GT. What this GT means here, what do you people think? What you understood about this GT? What this GT stands for? What it indicates here? What do you people think?
Greater than.
Yeah. You see, for that greater than operator, you'll find a method. As I told you, in the criteria builder for every SQL operator, you got an appropriate method here. You got an appropriate method, I can say. Yes. Okay. Next, you see the condition is um, we want that property ID to be greater than 110. So this property is of what type? We are specifying the details here. So basically, this property here, it is of what type? We are specifying the details. See in the brackets, integer. And similarly, even here we have to do the same. Now we have a second condition. What is the second condition? You see, this time we want that name to be greater than, name should be greater than, sorry, not greater than. Name should start with T. We're using like operator. Have you noticed it? We are calling that like method. We are calling the like method here. So basically we're using like operator. Yes. Yes. So with these two conditions are joined using AND operator. So this is where your AND method comes into the picture. Yeah. Now you saw this query. How do you think this is better than, do you think is this better than HQL, or how do you analyze this query from your side? What do you think about it? Yeah.
Honestly, if it is two conditions, I would say SQL query is very easy to write.
Yeah. But SQL has a problem, right?
Yes.
HQL also you found it difficult? I guess it was not difficult, right?
No. But here you have to remember all these things like criteria builder, like what all to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we make this query reusable?
As of now, you see, these queries are reusable itself, because I'll tell you here what we are doing is just passing the values. That's it, right? Now at runtime you can pass these values 110, whatever it is, name, and the query is actually dynamically generated, right? The query will be dynamically generated here. Yes. So first of all,
So can we use any variable like a P or something, and we
yeah,
can set the value of P?
did that earlier, right? You don't need to set the variables here. No need for that, because it's a method. You're calling a method in passing the values. Now you see, you can just pass those values here. We're not hard coding it here. Okay, it's not a query. Don't think that this is a query. We're just writing the conditions for that query. So how you want that query to be constructed, how you want that query to be built here. That is what you have specified.
Okay, got it. Like, yeah, so no need of giving 110 here. Like you can pass any variable. It
Yeah.
can be some like P or something like
Yes.
price.
Yeah. So that value
Yeah.
at runtime, it can be set any value.
Yes. Okay,
You
got
can
it.
set it
Thank
to
you.
any value at runtime. Okay. So, but there is an advantage here. What is the advantage? What do people think? I see there is one advantage here for this queries. What is it? Yes. You know, there is a problem the way we construct a SQL query, or even HQL query. I mean, it won't be an issue all the times, but in some cases it can be an issue. In what cases it can be an issue, I'll tell you. First of all, what is the problem? The queries are very much static, I can say. I mean, though they might be reusable, but still, I can say that the queries are static. Why so? Because, you know what, you will construct a query, or you'll write the query while we develop the application, right? Yes. Now, here, if you need to make some changes according to the user's input, can we change that query dynamically? Is it possible to change the query dynamically? Once we write the query, can we change the query dynamically at runtime? Is it allowed? Okay. Can we do that? What do you people think?
No, sir.
No. It won't be possible. You cannot do that. Once you've written the query, you will not be able to change that query. Yes. But you know what? Let's say you got a requirement where you may need to construct the query dynamically based on a requirement, based on the user's input. What you will do? For example, I'll show you a site here. Just let's visit a site. Hmm. There is a problem in the site, I guess. Okay, actually it is a Tata company's online store. Now let's say you want to buy something here. So we have comfort. Okay, let's take the air conditioners. See, now this page, if you check this page here, in this page, we have the option. The users have got the option, I can say, to search for the air conditioners. Okay. Now this application is providing various options for the customers to search for the records. Okay, to search for the record, there are various conditions here, various options here. I can say. You see, on the left side, if you can check this, refined by category, brand. You have many on the left side. Refined by category, brand, price, store availability, star rating, nominal capacity, stock availability. So there are various options. Now based on this options, you see, criteria I can say, users will be able to search for the records. Okay, search for the air conditioners here. Yep. Now in this case, to fetch the records, right? You see, just imagine, let's say you are the developer, you have to write the query for this. How will you write the query? To filter these records. You see, the problem is based on the user selection, you have to write this query. Users may want to search for the records based on the brand or price or brand and price or store availability. And what else we have? Based on the category or based on the star rating, based on the capacity. We have various conditions here, right? We got various conditions here. Yes. So you see, how will you write this query? What you will do? Let's say you have to write a SQL query. What you will do? Can you people tell me? Come on, try. Think about it. Yes. Just some ideas. Think about it. Idea? Okay. So what do you think? What is the problem here with this for writing the query here based on this requirement? You see an issue?
Multiple conditions.
Why? It's a dynamic query.
It has to be a dynamic query. Okay. We have multiple conditions. Multiple conditions also won't be a problem, right? Even if you have multiple conditions, that won't be a problem. But the issues here,
Mhm.
see, now while writing the query, you don't know like what conditions you don't know based on what conditions you have to write the query. All right, you're not aware of it. So when you will know how to filter the records, when you'll come to know how to filter the records is
At runtime.
at runtime itself, based on the user's inputs. That is the problem here. So it all involves constructing the query by manipulating the strings and all. Lot of string manipulations will be involved in this case. Lot of string manipulations will be involved in this case. If you write a plain query like SQL query or even HQL query also. You know what? In this situation, in this context, I can say that here your criteria query will be the best option. The criteria query, it will be the best option, I can say. You know that? Yes. Criteria query is the best option. So why criteria are best here? What do you think? Because it involves just method calls. Now based on that conditions, user selection, you can call a method to build that query. To gradually build the query, you'll just need to call the methods. Am I right? To build this query, we got method calls here. So we don't have to manipulate strings or add something or remove something from that string. We don't have to manipulate the queries. Queries later on generated dynamically. So for suppose you see, I can do this. If let's say we have the selection process here, I'll write some kind of pseudocode. If see based on ID, then let's say I will add this code here, something like this. Let's say this query has to be executed. If the records have to be searched based on the ID. Let's say if the records have to be searched on the search based on the ID and you know what name based on ID and name. In that case, let's say this is the query which you want to execute, right? You see, and one more thing, these are just method calls. These are just method calls. So based on this method invocations, you see the query will be generated dynamically here. Yes. That is how it works. Don't you think for that requirement which we saw just now, where the records have to be filtered based on the user selection or fetched based on the user selection. So this criteria would be the best option here. Yes. Is it clear for you people? If you have to construct a query dynamically based on the user's input. So criteria will help in this regard. Yeah. You have still doubts in your mind regarding the criteria? Yes.
Can we use multiple conditions on this? Not just only and, can we use and or together?
Yeah, you can do that. Yes. What you'll do. So basically, when you call this where clause, okay. So you can check this here. You can have a predicate in that case. See, you call the where clause. What it returns a criteria object. So that is what you have to check for. What it does, it returns a criteria query object. Now, in turn, this criteria query object, let's say, sorry, just a second. I have two conditions here. You'll get a criteria query object. Let's say I have got, you see in the where clause we have this condition, right? Even here also you'll get the same thing. So I'll take it here. In place of this I'll add it. Now you see we have a where clause with that and. Now let's say we have another criteria, let's say this way. So this one also returns a criteria query object. Now we have two criteria query objects. So you can do the select root dot where you have a predicate. See, now what you'll do, you can pass, oh sorry, not this way. You'll do this criteria builder dot or which takes a predicate here, criteria query 1, criteria query 2. Just a second. So here it is supposed to take this expressions. So I have two criteria builder objects. What I can do is You can call this, say, or is there. Use this compound selection here. Criteria builder, criteria query 1, criteria query 2. Let me do that. Let me do. We call it as a logical expression, compound selection actually. It should support it. Just even most of the times, what we used to do is work with Hibernate 4 type of criteria. There you have logical expressions. Here also we have this compound selection, but actually you can construct the compound selection here this way. Just a minute. Let me select this method in 1 minute. Actually, this one. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll show it in the next session. So here I have one issue while working with this query. So I'll try to sort it out and I'll let you know. So whereas in case of
Yeah.
previous version of Hibernate, so what it was pretty straightforward. So not fine. I forgot the method name. So in that case, we have something called as we used to create a criteria this way, so which is now actually deprecated in Hibernate 4. Very recently deprecated, not long time back. So we used to create a criteria this way. I'll show you. So what you can do is you can create a criteria this way. You'll find that it is pretty simple in Hibernate 4 version now, which is deprecated here in 5. 5 was introduced last year itself. In this year, the beginning or last year ending. So we used to create a criteria, and now let's say I have this conditions this way. So let's say I can do this. The conditions were written this way in the other version. For your information, maybe if you come across such kind of queries, you may do that because you have many projects which are still running on 4 itself. So you'll do this criteria. So restrictions dot. Let's say you have two conditions. This is how you'll write it over there. Restrictions dot. Let's say I have some restriction, something like this, equals, or let's say GT here also we'll find the methods, but in a restrictions class, not in the criteria builder. There is nothing called as a criteria builder in that case. Let's say the product ID is greater than 110. This is one criterion, a condition here. Say I have one more condition, something like this. Criterion 1 and criterion 2. Second condition, as we did, we can use a like operator. Let's say the product name should start with something like this, P percentile. Next, now we have two conditions. I would like to merge these two conditions. So what you will do, use a logical operator, something like this, and you will pass these two criterions. Okay, so now we got one compound criterion, I can say, logical expression we call it as. It's a complex criterion, logical expression, something like that. Now this logical expression is also a criterion which represents these two criterions, which are added using AND operator here. We are adding them using AND operator. Let's say now we have a third condition, something like this, criterion 3, restrictions dot, let's say price greater than or equal to 300. Now we have this criterion. Now what I want to do is, okay, this logical expression, it represents two conditions. What are the two conditions? These are the two conditions joined using AND operator, logical operator. Now we have another condition. I would like to merge these two conditions with this one using OR. So what I will do, restrictions dot, you have OR method. You can call it here. We call them as, you will pass those predicates, the conditions here. What you'll do, you'll pass the logical expression. That logical expression represents two conditions which are merged using and the third one, the third criterion here. That's it. This is what you'll do. In turn, you'll get a logical expression now. Okay, that's it. Now the second logical expression, so it represents how many conditions? 3. So 2 are added using and the other one is OR. That means how the records will be fetched in this case.
Will be based on either like the first two conditions where ID equals 110 and the name like P something, or else if the price is greater than or equal to 300. All the records will be
Yeah.
displayed.
So the records, first of all, they have to satisfy these two conditions first, right? Or the records will satisfy this condition. the records whose ID is greater than 110 and the name starts with P, or the price greater than or equal to 300. So that is how it works in Hibernate 4. But 5 has been recently introduced. You see how easy it is to write a criteria earlier. But you know what? You can compare this code. So with the code which we have written now. So first create a criteria builder object, then create a criteria query, then add a root for this, then add the conditions this way, and then prepare the query for execution this way, transform it, and then execute the query. So I feel like the version of Hibernate 4 criteria were a lot easier compared to this one. Hibernate 5 queries I can say actually. Yes.
I have another question. This is all when you're working with one class. How do we work with multiple?
Multiple classes in the sense what happens here, won't be any problem because already the objects are associated. Hibernate provides the support for you people, right? So they are associated. It's not a problem to fetch the associated records. You got the point?
Yes, but the only thing is like, how do we use joins? How do we create query using joins in this particular scenarios using the criteria query?
See, joins by default you will find that here you will get the associated records, so you don't have to write a join. For example, you're getting the product records already. You can check this. Let me just remove this code. Now you want the associated record. So what you will do in this case?
We need to create something similar for the supplier class also.
Why you will create it? That is what I said. This is Hibernate. What you will do for associated record? You just need to call this get supplier. You get the supplier details. Supplier ID. Initially, as I told you people, Hibernate helps us in managing the associations, right? So the associated
Got
objects,
it.
you already have it here. We don't have to write anything additional again to fetch them. So that is what the navigation is all about. From products, now you can browse to suppliers as well. The root is product here. From the product, you can fetch all the associated records. So that won't be a problem here. Yeah, for some product, I guess you don't have a supplier associated, so it's throwing null pointer exception. Let me do this. Let me write the condition this way. 101, let's say. Okay, from 101 we'll try to fetch the records, and also I'll make the supplier. I'll write this condition: supplier not equal to null. Then only use that supplier reference. So for some products there won't be any suppliers associated. Okay? So in that case, supplier reference will be null. So did we get any suppliers? No. So what is the condition? I'm sorry, just let me check on the condition here. Product ID is greater than 110 and product name starts with T. Yeah? Okay. So I'll just make it L. Let's see. On the initial records, I've got supplier. No, supplier. Yeah, here we've got a supplier. See, for this product, there is a supplier. For other products, we don't have suppliers. And actually, you can also write a, if you want particular name, you can write a kind of join query also.
Here
Definitely,
the
you'll do that.
supplier should be displayed 3 times, right? So why is it displayed only once?
Why it will?
Because all these are Lenovo products and
No,
everything
but
has
actually, I
9,000.
didn't add them here in the database.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
thinking
okay.
it logically, but in the database, they are not added. I'll show you. So we have other things to explore. Definitely, the next session also I'll be talking about this criteria itself, the new way of writing the criteria. That too in Hibernate 5. Because 4 is deprecated. I mean, we have a new approach. Of course, you have to learn this one. And definitely, in the next session, I'll also show you people how to add that conditions here. You have a logical expression, right? Which we saw. You have I want to add merge 2 conditions using AND and the other one using OR. The third one using OR. So we'll see that definitely. So I forgot that name. Even I am new to this querying, this type of querying especially. The new way. You saw the old way, right? I'm very much accustomed to it for a long time. So just this method I forgot. There is one method I'm not able to recollect. So I did that.
If you see in the database, I can see that
Let's see.
supplier ID is
Just tell me.
provided.
Just tell me. 184, 185, 186. Okay, let's check it. See, 183, we have it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so if it fetches that for that record, definitely it will fetch the for the others also. Don't worry, definitely it will work. Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
So if I provide that supplier ID here, then it will fetch the suppliers definitely. 99902, 99902, 99902. And this time, if you execute the query, you should get that suppliers also. So now for 187 I didn't add it. For 186 I've added it. For 185 it is also showing the supplier. For 184 also it is showing the supplier detail. 183 also it is showing that associated supplier details. Yeah. So I hope you people got it.
Yeah.
Now you saw this kind of querying here. Okay, so I will do one thing. I will add this to the Dropbox folder. You can go through this queries. Try to work with these queries. Okay. Remember one thing, this is for Hibernate 5. This criteria is basically for 5, Hibernate 5 version. Prior to Hibernate 5, the querying was different. Yeah. So just now which we saw, do one thing. I'll show you that kind of querying also at least to some extent, so that if you come across any project with that criteria, you won't face any issues. Yeah, so that will be a lot easier compared to this one. You saw just now, you people saw that, right? Yeah, still we can use them here, though they are deprecated. We can use them here, but it will throw, or it will complain that it's deprecated. That is what you'll see. Yep. Okay. So in the next session, we'll continue a discussion of criteria. I'll show you how to execute aggregate functions. You know, you can also do this joins also. I'll show you joins if you have multiple entities. So how to work with the joins also, we'll see that. Okay. Yes, definitely. So these are all the things I'll discuss it in the next session. So tomorrow, let's meet at our regular time and we'll have a discussion on this criteria. So tomorrow, by the end of the session, you'll become comfortable with the criteria. So, this weekend, I want to sit with you people and make you people work with that project, especially the case study which you are implementing. Classic model schema, I want you people to implement it, right? Yes. So, Madhavi, you said you have an issue, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'll ping you in half hour. If I don't ping you in half hour, you can just ping me. And if possible, you try to create a meeting. If you can create a GoToMeeting account, okay.
Okay.
You can try to create a GoToMeeting account for trial. For a trial period, you can do that. And once you're done, you can start a meeting and just mail me the link. Okay, just mail me the link.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll join the meeting and I'll check that. I might be in another class, but through the mobile or some other source, I'll try to join and check
Okay.
error. Okay then.
Yeah.
Others, I hope you people are working on this classic model schema. Did you people start with it? If not, please try to start with it. Okay, so that you'll understand. That is a case study for you people to understand this mappings, everything. Okay, fine. That's it. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.